We're in a message series, and the message series is the lessons aboard the Polar Express. And, we like to take different approaches each year. And, sometimes I remember one message series I did based off of Rembrandt's art painting called The Prodigal. And it was a deep story. Actually, The Prodigal painting by Rembrandt is one of the most powerful paintings that you can dissect, looking at it from the eyes of the story of the prodigal son. And a Franciscan priest who passed away way too early, but an awesome author, Henry Nouwen, he wrote a book specifically on that painting, and we did a Christmas series on that. One year we did a Christmas series called Let It Be Christmas, and it was the gospel according to Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, Paul, George, and Ringo. Okay, and we had a different song from the Beatles each week, and the worship team played it. It was fantastic. We tied it in with a message, and this year is like, well, let's do something that kids can relate to, that we can all relate to. And so we chose the Polar Express because there's that one line in that movie that says, seeing is believing, but sometimes the most real things in the world are the things we can't see. And so this week we're going to talk specifically, we're going to get really theological. The topic is hot and heavy. It's called hot chocolate. Okay. There's a scene in this movie. I know a lot of you said last week you haven't seen this movie, and it really is fantastic. You go through all different phases as they try to get to the North Pole. And there's this scene in the movie where all the kids are settled in on the Polar Express. They're making their way. They haven't quite hit Glacier Gulch yet, which is a fantastic adventure to watch, with two hillbilly engineers that are driving the train and all of that. But Tom Hanks, the conductor, comes on. He goes, would anybody like refreshments? And of course, you're dealing with a group of kids. I mean, come on. How many have flown before? I mean, the stewardess gets on and says, we have refreshments coming. I still get giddy, like Coke and pretzels coming up. Here we go. So let's watch this scene because this lays a foundation for what we're going to talk about a little bit. Start the clip.
Your attention, please. Are there any Polar Express passengers in need of refreshment? My thoughts.
Oh, we got it. Hey, we got it. Yay, we got it. Oh, we got it. So we got it. No, we got it. Here we've only got one rule. Never let it cool. Keep it cooking in the room. Oh, we got it. Hey, we got it. Say, we got it. Oh, we got it. So we got it. No, we got it. Here we only got one rule.
Here we only got one rule.
Never ever let it go.
Never let it go. Keep it cooking in the pot.
You got chocolate. Hot, hot.
Hey, we got it.
Hot, hot.
Oh, we got it.
Hot, hot.
Hey, we got it.
Hot, hot.
Oh, we got it. Yeah, we got it. Oh, we got it.
Hot, hot.
Yeah, we got it.
Now, I've been on the Amtrak before, a couple months ago for spring break. That never happened. But there's something that goes on in that scene where the kids are excited for hot chocolate. We see the little girl hiding that hot chocolate under a cup. I'll leave it to you to watch the movie, see what that's all about. But it really is about a heart of giving. And this scene, it's like, okay, so where can we go biblically? Where can we go with this talk regarding this certain scene in the Polar Express and the hot chocolate? This is a moment that I think it was Jerry Bruckheimer made the movie that wanted it to be kind of a magical experience, okay? Something new, something exciting for the kids beyond just getting on a train, but there are always these elements that these kids experience. And I'm looking at my outline when I was putting my service together, when I put the outline on there, I'm like, I think we're probably one of the only churches this Sunday using the word magic in our outline. But I want to explain that a little bit because it's an important thing. You see, at this point in the movie, there's this wonder, there's this awe. Number one, the Polar Express pulls up. Number two, they're boarding this thing, and there's things that even the conductor punching the ticket the way he does is like the kids are in awe, they're in wonder. Then there's this hot chocolate scene. And it kind of resonated with me on how we view the Christmas season, right? I mean, the Christmas season, I've said this over and over again, we have heard this story so many times, okay? And when you hear a story enough times, it's like your favorite song on the radio, right? You hear it over and over and over again, and it comes on again. What do you want to do? Turn it, okay? We have in the car, we have Sirius XM, and you can save your favorite songs. Inevitably, when a favorite song thing pops up, it's either going to be U2 or an Elvis song, okay? And there comes a point where I'm like, skip it. We're just going to, because you heard enough. This message can get this way every year when we hear it over and over again, but yet there's still this awe, there's still this wonder that takes place when we experience this time of year. So my first point is that there's the wonder of faith, seeing extraordinary in the ordinary. In Mark chapter 10, verse 15, it says, "Truly I tell you, anyone who will not receive the kingdom of God, anyone who will not receive the kingdom of God like a little child will never enter it." Interesting fact here, okay? When you look at comparative religions, okay, you do a little research, and Buddhism, Zen, a lot of these ones, they all come back to having a childlike faith, okay? Now, I'm not comparing the two, but what I'm pointing out here is that there comes a point where when Jesus is speaking here saying, unless they have the heart of a little child, because why? Kids can be pure. Kids can be, they haven't experienced a whole lot. As adults, we've been around the block. Some of us have been around the world, okay? And we've experienced so much in our life that it can be something that it can pollute us. We can get negative. We can get snarky about things. And this is true in really any walk of life that we go through, even in our jobs. And I've shared this story before, but when I would do ride-alongs with the police officers, they said the biggest thing they struggle with, this was a couple of them that said this to me, the biggest thing they struggle with is getting cynical about the situations they come upon. And I was taken back a little bit by that because, sometimes officers will respond to some pretty big life events. They said, but we've dealt with it so much. We've seen it over and over again played out, that we have to go into it saying, let's deal with this like it's our first time dealing with this, okay? When we experience a lot of hurt and pain and letdowns, I talked earlier before church even got started, before the service got started, how the church can hurt us. We start getting disarrayed, dismayed by it. We start being hurt. We start getting let down. We'll hear certain things and say, yeah, okay, But really, this message that we bring each year is something that should spark awe and wonder, because there's something always fresh about it. The magical hot chocolate symbolizes the spark of wonder that comes from the childlike faith. Like the main character in the Polar Express, we can lose sight of this wonder as we grow older and get weighed down by doubt. So there's that bell. And what's that bell? They always say you can only hear it if you believe. And if you didn't get one of these last week, we got a box of them back there, and they say believe on it. But like that main character, we can lose sight. Yet God calls us to see with the eyes of a child, to recognize the miraculous in everyday moments. Everyday moments. I shared with you that Christmas tree story. When we used to do a program here, and I'd love to get it going again, but when we used to do church at the pub, remember those, for those of you that used to come with us down there? We'd gather together and walk into the Pack a Pub. And what did we do? I actually had people, church folks from other churches ask me, so how do you set up a stage in there to lead in worship? And what messages do you preach? Wrong answer. Wrong question. Okay, we didn't. All we did was we went there and hung out. Okay, and I would be very open with it. I said, if you're in recovery and all of that, don't come with us. This program's not for you. I don't want to put you in that temptation. For me, the bartender always knew when I walked in, she got a root beer ready for me. I don't drink. Okay. And for others, that came with us, we just sat and we were a light there. And people would start sharing us their stories. And one year somebody gave us a stack of gas cards and said, here, give them out to everybody in the pub and say, this is a gift from Radiant Fellowship. No strings attached. Another lady, she came up to us, and Heather Dahl, who attends our church, she was helping us wrap gifts yesterday. She was wearing a dress. And one lady outside of the pub, who we've served before when we would serve at the Wapaka Hotel, she came up to Heather and said, that is such a pretty dress. I wish I could afford one. And it was just at that moment in my car, I had a $75 JCPenney gift card in there that somebody gave me to give away. And I asked the lady, I said, would you like one of these? Would you like a new dress for whatever your next occasion is? She goes, I'd love it. So I said, wait up, I'll go to the car. I grabbed it, and she just fell apart. It's the little things like that really, to someone, it means a lot. Dave and I got to experience that a couple of years ago. Remember that waitress at one of our area restaurants? I asked her how it's going. This was in October, maybe. No, actually, it was more in the summertime. And she said, not so good. I'm trying to save up. My kid needs a Chromebook. I can't honestly buy a Chromebook until Black Friday shopping. I'm like, that's like a long ways off. And the kid needs a Chromebook for school. And she was starting to tear up a little bit. And I put the need out to you guys as a church, right? And within a week, you guys stepped up and we got a Chromebook for her. And Dave and I went and had breakfast there again. And I asked her, and I know we'd be annoying to her at this point, but we said, how's it going with getting a Chromebook? If you don't know the person, it's like, jerk, you just asked me about that, and I told you my situation. And she goes, not good. I'm still have hardly anything saved. And so right on the booth next to us, we said, well, you can keep saving or you can just tab this one. And she, again, fell apart. Such a simple act. For a church to come together to buy a Chromebook, that's like $20 a person, a couple, and it meant the world to her. So God calls us to see things through the eyes of a child and to recognize the miraculous in everyday moments. I've said it before, when people ask for a miracle, when they pray for a miracle, most times that comes through somebody like you and me, or somebody stepping up and saying, I think I need to do this for that person. So faith invites us to experience God's magic, God's awesomeness in simple blessings, in simple ways. The way this regiftment is going to take off is going to be extraordinary. People are going to, and it's such a simple thing for us to do. Why? Because there's a joy belief, reigniting the spirit through trust. Psalms 34:8, David writes, taste and see that the Lord is good. Blessed is the one who takes refuge in him. So like this scene, just as they poured the hot chocolate, just as the poured hot chocolate invites delight and joy, faith invites us to taste and experience God's goodness firsthand. We've been recipients. We felt God's presence. We felt God's grace. We felt him. We've seen him intervene in moments that were just like, things are down right now. But not only when things are down, but also when things are going really good. When things are going really good, it's at those moments you just kind of sit back. You've had those moments before where you just sit back, you look around at what you have. God's clearly equipped you with the gifts, the knowledge to do the job that you have. And you look back, and at the end of the day, you're sitting in your recliner, if you're like me, again, by the window, because I like to watch traffic. I've hit that age in my life. And you just sit there and you're like, thank you, God. Thanks, God, for what you've done, for what you provided. For me, I also thank him for the talents and the abilities I have, because, again, if you would have known me in high school, that would have been bad. Tracy has made it very clear to me, and Josh remembers me in high school, and I remember you in high school, so don't throw any stories. And Tracy and I have determined that we clearly would not be in the same situation right now had we known each other in high school. We're two different people. And so she was the 4.0 and I was like, yeah, okay. So anyways, but joy is found embracing that belief because it renews our hearts. It renews our spirits. It says, you know what, Lord, thank you for this. For these kids, they just went through a scary time boarding this Polar Express. For some of those kids, the one kid, he was questioning getting on. The train had to start rolling before he jumped on. And then he goes through a moment of, okay, I'm on. I've made the decision. Then the annoying kid shows up. The one with glasses, and he talks like this, you know, that sort of thing. He knows he's a know-it-all. He's a Mr. Know-it-all in this movie. But then when the kids start down a little bit, this magical hot chocolate scene shows up, and it sparks something again. And we need that in our life, right? We need that in our walk with Christ. We need those moments. I mean, here's a church that's been here 21 years. I've had the joy of being here for 21 years with you. Here's a church that's on the verge of paying off its debt. We have like 8,000 left. We operate on a budget of $900 a week, which is really good for a church, by the way. But after 21 years of doing any job, right? Anything that you're doing, there are moments where you're like, not saying you want to throw in the towel, but there's moments of plateau. There's moments where you're just like, I need something, need to reignite something. And that's okay. I think that's a normal walk of life. That's spirituality 101. You're going to have mountaintop experiences. You're going to have valleys. You're going to have plateaus. Okay. But we look at all of that and then we just keep our eye on the main thing as a church, which is serving people. Starting off our Wednesday night group with 3 kids, and now we're at like 18. That's pretty good growth in like 3-4 months. And the kids are having fun. They're enjoying it. Our youth group, we meet. Our midweek groups meet. Women's ministry, men's ministry meet. And then we do things like this. We do Regiftmas. We hand out cold bottles of water on a hot day at farmer's market, no strings attached, just saying we're showing you the love of God in a tangible way. If you're in a home church already, great. If you're not, you're welcome to check us out. We do trunk or treat. We do all of these things. Why? Because it keeps things exciting. If we make our goals physical, building project or whatever, you're going to hit that goal and you're going to go into a little bit decline because what else is there to do? But if you keep serving people the main thing, you win every time. You're going to always have a mission field ahead of you. And that's an important thing. So there's the magic of Christmas. There's that line that word in the church outline, shame. Anyways, I'm joking. The magic of Christmas, recognizing God's presence in simple comforts. Isaiah chapter 9, verse 6 says, "For unto us a child is born, to us a son is given, and he will be called Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace." Let's go back to the hot chocolate. The hot chocolate's magic reflects the true miracle of Christmas. It was an awe-inspiring moment, and they have another one at the end of the movie, obviously, when they meet the big man. For us, it's the birth of Jesus. I don't care if you're sitting around grandma's house and she reads the story to you, or you watch Charlie Brown Christmas and you hear Linus reading it on stage after he says, "Lights, please." He needs a little ambiance. There's that moment where it just hits you like there is something bigger to this. And it's an awe-inspiring story. It's an awe-inspiring thing to hear and to reflect on. Sometimes God's work is quiet and gentle, and it's found in the simple comforts shared among loved ones. For these kids, it was the hot chocolate. For us, it's sitting with your spouse. It's sitting with your kids, watching a Christmas movie. Whatever the case is, there's that spark every Christmas that says this is what it's all about. I could go on a real tangent on how a lot of Christianity has made it what it's not supposed to be about. Some of you have heard my story where there were 2 times distinctly where I was ready to say, I'm out, I'm done being a pastor. That was that was right when I started here and one time in Milwaukee. In the Assemblies of God, there's district offices. Every state has a district office. And it's just there to help if we need it. We operate independently. We operate non-denominally, though we were affiliated with the Assemblies of God. But during that storm, when I got up here, the superintendent, who is the head honcho, controls the mothership. He asked me, he goes, I know what you've been through. I know what Tracy and you have been through. You shouldn't have had to experience that. Would you consider pastoring this church? And I gave him a very lighthearted, godly response, filled with scripture. Not really. I was broken. I was hurt. I even cussed. It's like that t-shirt, I love Jesus, but I swear a little bit. That was that moment for me. I was broken. I was hurt. Tracy and I were like, this is not how it should be pastoring a church. But we did. We said yes. We prayed about it. We just moved up here. Tracy was like wearing an old shoe again. She's from Nakusa, so coming back to actually a bigger city than Nakusa, she was happy with. For me, coming up here to Spencer Lake every summer, it was awesome. And there was that spark that took place. Why? Because we're willing to step out. And for me, a challenge is a good thing. So the guy said, okay, well, you're just so you know, your guys are going to be restarting this church with 8 people and a mortgage. And the mortgage back then was like $150,000. And here we are. Why? Because you guys have made it awesome. God has made it awesome. We're serving people. We're doing what a church should. We're investing into programs and ministry and all of that. And that's an exciting place to be. So that's the magic of it all. Christmas reminds us that God's presence is woven into the fabric of everyday life, transforming the ordinary into extraordinary. And then there's this, the power of shared faith, strengthening belief through community. Hebrews 10:24-25 says, and let us consider how we may spur one another on toward love and good deeds, not giving up on meeting together, but encouraging one another. That is a key word, isn't it? Encouraging one another. When we did church at the pub, I remember at one point I turned to a friend who came, and he's a prominent man in this community, and he wanted to come with us because he was celebrating, I think he's like 30 years recovery from alcoholism. And he told me these words. He goes, if you want a guidebook on how to do church, read this. And he handed me the little blue book from Alcoholics Anonymous. And I said, it'd be great if you were, plugged into a church somewhere and stuff. And he stopped me, he goes, answer me this. He goes, the camaraderie I find, he goes, this is rare that I'm in a bar right now, but I wanted to see what you guys were doing. But he goes, when I go to an AA meeting that is a decent one, he goes, at any given moment, if I start struggling, if I start becoming weak, whether it's 2 a.m. or 2 p.m., I can call somebody and someone's going to be there by my side. Can a church do that for me? I'm like, oh, wow. That's pretty intense. He goes, now the what you see at around a bar, the camaraderie and the laughter and all that stuff, he goes, that's enjoyable. And maybe that's what a church should be as well. And I look at our church and I'm thinking, okay, yeah, we don't have the liquor, obviously. Okay. But we have fun. We have camaraderie. We have things that we do. We help each other out. This church has helped each other out so many times. I'm not going to give away too much, but I think of the Smith home when they needed an office built. You guys that know your stuff in wood building, you got the stuff. Jeremy did. And you guys built an office for him at his home. Charlie and Deb Jones. It was within a day. Charlie knew that Deb was going to have to come home from the rehab center and needed a wheelchair ramp at his house outside of town. And a group of you guys got together, and one Sunday afternoon, you had that wheelchair ramp built and ready to go for Deb. We've put new roofs on people's houses, on a single mom houses. This is what a church does. And I grieve. I actually grieve. And I know I've maybe shared this story before, but there was a church that my parents went to, and they've both passed now, but an elderly lady in the church needed help moving. And the church's response was, we can't help you because it's an insurance liability. I would walk. I'd be gone. I'd be done. Is that a church I want to be a part of? A church rallies around each other to celebrate the awesome victories. Just saw you got back from vacation. Awesome. That I can't wait to see your pictures too. Man, I heard you're going through a lot of stuff right now. How can I come alongside you and just be there for you? This is what a church does. And so there's the power of shared faith, strengthening belief through community. What did Jesus say that people are going to know we are his disciples? By the gossiping we do to one another? No. He said by the love we have for each other. People are going to know that we're his disciples. So the shared experience of drinking on the Polar Express as hot chocolate on the train symbolizes the power of community. Those kids were tight from there on out through the movie. They were there for each other, drove each other nuts, all of that stuff. But you know what? That's family, okay? But they were there for each other. Sometimes I've talked about James and Emma, and sometimes, not a lot, you know. And I've often said, like any brother and sister, you guys are the first ones that throw each other under the bus. When there's trouble, like, she did it, you know, that sort of thing. But without each other, you're lost. And you know what? That's so true of siblings. That's true of churches as well. That we're there for each other. We enjoy each other's camaraderie. And in this place, we're not going to throw each other under the bus. We're going to actually enjoy our time with each other because we come from all different walks of life. We have blue collar, we have white collar, we have Democrats, we have Republicans, we have all these things. But isn't that what a church should be? Isn't that what a church should recognize? If we don't believe that, then we need to read the gospel story of the people Jesus chose to be his disciples. They came from all different walks of life. And yet, here they were, serving the greater good and being a light to the people with this life-changing message. So our belief is often strengthened when we gather, when we share, when we encourage one another. Faith is not just private, it's a journey best traveled with others who spur us on, reminding us of the joy of believing together. And so something so simple as a little cartoon scene of hot chocolate that sparks awe and wonder in these kids ought to be an encouragement and challenge us to say, maybe I'm going into this Christmas season a little ho-hum. It's okay. This is life. This is what we do. We have those moments. But maybe taking a little time for yourself, for your family, reflecting on what really matters is what it would take to re-spark that understanding to know what really matters in life. And that's God. That's serving each other. That's serving our community in all of these things. Because this thing should never get boring. Polar Express never got boring. Just when you think it was going to get boring, they had to stop for a bunch of reindeer on the train tracks. Just when they got past the train tracks, then they found themselves in another story. Christianity is the same way. If it gets boring, get engaged. Start serving. Join into a Bible study. I had one person yesterday text me saying, hey, I'm going into a Bible study on grace. I know the flagship scripture, but do you have any other thoughts on it? I said, yes, look at these scriptures, read them. And then if you want to expound a little more beyond the Bible, there's a fantastic book that I would recommend. It's kickstarting ourselves to make this thing an enjoyable process. Something awesome that God intended. Because the key in the New Testament with the church is a lot of areas it said, and God added to their numbers daily. And then we look at church today. Sometimes in our snarky way, we can say, and people left the church daily, you know, because it can be a difficult place, but it can be also a fantastic place, a place where you find friendship, family, community, and a lot of laughs, and people that genuinely care for each other.